Following a change in career genres and a smash hit movie called Get Out in 2017, Jordan Peele is back, and he is back with some more scares. This is Us. Cheap joke, couldn't resist.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Starring amongst others, Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Elizabeth Moss and Tim Heidecker, directed by Jordan Peele off of a screenplay that he wrote. This is my review for Us. Us focuses on the Wilson family. They've got a holiday home that they're staying in for a little while, and it's a place that doesn't have the best memories in the surrounding area for one particular member of the family, that being Lupita Nyong'o's Adelaide. And it doesn't take long before their holiday turns into a holiday from hell when a family turn up at their door that look exactly like them and make it very clear that their intentions are not good ones. So yeah, Get Out was an incredible movie. It's a movie that I think gets better every single time I watch it. The first time I saw it, I really liked it. The second time, I loved it. And each time I watch that, I continue to get new things from it. I think it's going to be a very similar thing with Us, because this is a movie that's just based on one viewing, and I didn't want to do a second watch of this before I did the review because it's unfair to all the other films that I only watched once. But it feels like one of those movies that I'm going to have to go back to again and just rewatch maybe 2 or 3 times to get everything that's going on, because this is a lot of movie. There is a lot going on here, and it takes some turns and some twists that I did not see coming. And at this stage, on the initial viewing, I don't know quite how I feel about them. I do know that overall I enjoyed the movie, though, which is the main thing, and that is largely, I think, down to, obviously Jordan Peele. Like, he creates another fantastic story here. It's instantly compelling, full of characters that I instantly like, and just full of a situation that just feels really, really claustrophobic and terrifying. It's a very different kind of scary to Get Out. Get Out was not a traditional horror movie. It had horrific elements to it, but it wasn't an outright scary film, I don't think. Well, again, it was, just in a very different way. This one is much more traditional sort of horror movie, but done in a Jordan Peele sort of way. And again, he shows how deft he is at combining tones in films. There's some very funny moments in this one, and a large portion of them actually all come from Winston Duke's character Gabe, who is just a great character. He's so much fun to watch. He makes even lines that shouldn't be that funny amusing just because of how he delivers them. One of my favourite parts of the film he was, but then saying that, I can't fault the kids in this either. Both of the 2 kids in this film, Shahadi Wright Joseph and Evan Alex, like these 2 kids, awesome. This isn't an easy film, I don't think, for kids to be able to act in, because there's a lot of dark, horrible things going on, and they need to be able to convey the fear of everything for us, for the audience. And for child actors, it can be quite difficult, I think, to be able to convey that effectively, but the pair of them absolutely do. They get some funny moments as well, but they get a lot of dark ones. They get a lot of really serious and intense moments that they have to deal with, and they really, really handle them well. The star of the entire thing, though, is easily Lupita Nyong'o, because they all get dual roles to play. You see it in the trailers. And by the way, this is a spoiler-free review, so it's going to make it quite difficult for me to talk about a lot of the things that I want to talk about, but I won't reveal anything. But you know that there are doppelgangers of this family, so all of them have to play 2 separate parts. One nice, one not so nice. They all handle them both very, very well. Lupita Nyong'o, though, she gets the most to do. She gets the most to do, she has the most to go through character-wise, and it's her doppelganger that we spend the most time with. It's her doppelganger that's the most vocal and the most talkative, and the one that's giving us the information that we need in drips. There's only one thing, really, that I didn't like about her performance in this one, and that's the voice used for the doppelganger, and it's not something I can pin on her, because Jordan Peele gave the approval for it, and I can see why it's a creepy voice. I think I may be in a minority of just finding that voice a little bit distracting. But yeah, for me, just the doppelganger's voice didn't really land. It just felt a little bit silly. I couldn't take it as seriously as I wanted to because of that, but I'm well aware that might just be me. The Neanderthal-like growls that the others have, much more effective. Just the idea that there's not a great deal going on in there except for the need to kill. Perfect for a film like this. And the noises, just the grunts and the whines and the sort of the squeals that these creepy families have is just great. But that's the only thing I can really falter for. And to say, I can't even really blame her entirely. Everything else that she does is absolutely spot on. So many difficult things that she has to do and emotions she has to get across. Nails them all. There's a lot of physical work that goes into this. She handles herself very well in that case as well. And there are moments where you can just see her just really wanting to protect her family, and the fierceness of the character comes out through the performance. She's perfectly cast in this role. Supporting cast, very good as well. I do want to in particular just mention Elizabeth Moss, who puts in a brilliant performance here. I'm so used to her in The Handmaid's Tale and just that very kind of bleak world that The Handmaid's Tale is. It's nice to see her in something else, and she gets some interesting things to do in this movie, more interesting than I was expecting. And yeah, she's a great actress all round, and she shows that a lot in Us. And this genuinely is a very, very creepy film. I found it to be a lot more unsettling than I did outright scary. Like, jump scare wise, I think wisely Jordan Peele doesn't really have that many of them in there. There are a few, and there are a couple that you can see come in, but there are one or two in there that kind of come as a bit of a surprise. But more than anything, this is an underlying creepy and tension-filled movie. There's one scene in particular involving somebody on the roof of a car, and I was expecting a jump scare to come from that one, but it didn't. It didn't go down that route instead, so it does surprise in the script, and it's incredibly effective at ramping that tension up. There are many moments in this film where I was just kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable now. What's going on in here? Many of them. Yeah, he's great in this genre, Jordan Peele. I'm always going to be looking forward to whatever he does next. Even this, I didn't like this one quite as much as I like Get Out. Still had a great time with it. For me, the movie is much stronger in its first half than it is the second. The first half of this, I was fully on board. As soon as you see one of the little kids just kind of get down all fours and just kind of move along like his limbs don't work like ours do, it's so unsettling. From that point, I was just like, yep, I'm scared. I'm in. Let's do this. And yeah, that first half, very, very strong. And there are a lot of strong elements in the second half as well. It's not like I'm saying as soon as we get to the halfway point, things go south, but I've got more problems than I have with that second half than I do with the first. The issue is that I can't really talk about many of them because it's a spoiler-free review. So if you want me to do a spoiler review, let me know and I will. But I need to try and keep it vague for this one. But there's just certain choices that Jordan Peele has made with the script that, for me, don't quite land. It's as if he's trying to go a little bit too big with this story. When it's a personal story just of this family, like, so effective. But when it tries to, again being vague, just go a little bit bigger, didn't quite work for me. But that being said, it did go in directions that I didn't expect. Where this movie ended up from where it started, not what I would have picked at all. Not what I would have guessed was going to happen. It takes some very unexpected turns. It takes some very unexpected twists. And there is a point where it feels like the whole movie just kind of switches and becomes something else. And I think your enjoyment of the movie overall is how you're going to feel about that twist, about that moment where it does become something else. Like, if you're still fully on board at that point, then you're probably going to come out of this absolutely loving it. But you may be a little bit just like me. A bit like, I wish we just had a little bit more restraint in this one. I wish it hadn't gone quite as far as it did. But thankfully, though, even that second half does have a lot going for it. There's a lot of brilliant moments. And the sound in this one as well is great. The music used, it's awesome. There's great songs like Fuck the Police, which is always a great song. But there's other bits of music here that's just used at the right moment just to make things feel very, very, very disturbing. Soundtrack perfect for this film. It really does back up what's going on the screen, as any good soundtrack does. One song in particular, I think it's played 2 or 3 times in this one, but each time I heard it, there was something about that music with what was happening on the screen that was just, my technical term. So on the whole then, Us did not really disappoint. I was hoping it was going to be better than Get Out, just because Get Out was such a good film, but it's unfair to compare them. I didn't really go in hoping to compare the two movies, but I know, considering this is his second one, there has to be some sort of comparisons made. And yeah, I do wish I'd liked it as much or more as Get Out, but it's such a great film. It was a hard legacy to live up to, but I'd still really enjoyed Us. Even though I've got some problems with it, even though I've got some issues, I still had a great time. I'm looking forward to seeing it again, because there's every possibility, as I said at the start of the video, that on a second and third watch, I may end up loving this a lot more. Like, the whole thing may just come together a lot more for me when I know what's coming. But we'll see. When it's out on Blu-ray, I will check it out and watch it again and maybe report back. But as it stands at the moment, after just the one watch, I'm going to give Us an 8 out of 10. Have you seen Us yet? If so, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. What's your favourite horror of recent times as well? You a Hereditary fan? Because I am. 50-50, Mom might film that. But yeah, let me know. Favourite horror of recent times too. Thank you very much for watching this review. Look out for plenty more reviews coming soon. Shazam, very, very soon. Excited for that one. And Fisherman's Friends coming too. Quite a nice film. You can follow me on Twitter at JoeJulians if you want to come and chat to me all things TV, film, or anything really on there. Please do. Thank you very much again for watching, and I will see you on the next video.